Hello, we're the Pleasure Project, and we put the sexy into safer sex because sex education is rarely sexy and erotica is rarely safe. Why do we do this? Because today there are 1 billion people on the planet who have an easily preventable sexually transmitted infection. And we want more sexy, safer sex in the world because in the past, sex education messages simply haven't worked. They've emphasized death, danger, and disease, and all the things you need to stop doing, but none of the things that you need to start doing. And yet, we know that many people around the world have sex for reasons of pleasure, for love, for intimacy, and relationships that build on sexual rights and that are based on respect and consent, and yet are sex positive. And we know that having positive attitudes to sex rather than shaming people corresponds to positive attitudes to safer sex and more safer sex practices. We've been building the evidence base for over 14 years, and we've published in many of the world's top medical journals to persuade the health education community that it's important to talk about this stigmatized subject of sexual pleasure. And people are starting to join us. The World Association of Sexual Health last year launched a declaration of sexual pleasure that builds on their declaration of sexual rights. And we work closely with them, publicizing that and building on that declaration. Also, the World Health Organization recognizes that pleasurable and safe sexual experiences are an important part of sexual health. We've been building a community of practice and now have over 90 organizations logged on our global mapping of pleasure that shows around the world people who are joining us to include pleasure in their sexual health and sex education messaging. How else do we do this? We run training, and we've run training for Care International and Terence Higgins Trust, and we've presented at the global AIDS conferences every year for the last 15 years. We've also featured in much of the world's media, and go to our website to see where we've been quoted. So please join us, hire us as consultants, as experts, as trainers, and work with us to increase the amount of sexy, safer sex in the world and more people enjoying pleasurable but safe sexual lives and more pleasure in the world. Thank you.
I cannot recommend the Pleasure Project training enough. If you're thinking about it, do it. Anybody working in the SRHR space should be talking to Anne and Arushi and learning more about the work that the Pleasure Project do. The training session they did with us at Girl Effect was incredibly insightful in terms of learning how to adopt a pleasure-based and sex-positive approach to content and the way that we design programs. This was particularly helpful for our Big Sis chatbot, which is a WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger service in South Africa for adolescent girls and young women. And we learned about things like the importance of language, so talking about enjoying sex safely as opposed to protecting yourself. And all of those things ladder up to making sure that we are creating a safe, comfortable space for girls to talk about their SRHR concerns. So cannot thank them enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The session itself was online, and it meant that staff from all of our country offices could join, and both Anne and Arushi are amazing facilitators. They created such a comfortable, safe space for us to talk about things. They used different tools and different discussion points, and it meant that all of us felt engaged and included. And I know that my team definitely took a lot away from that session. So thank you again, and we look forward to working with you again soon.